Hello, Albuquerque.
In those days, it was 41, so there was a lot of racism.
I'm a Boeing 737 first officer.
I did a lot of research and I recommend everyone do the same.
And now suddenly you're addicted, literally to heroin.
Where were you born? I was born in Cambridge, England.
Both my parents were drug addicts.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Ordinary Joes. As always, I've got another extremely special guest with me, my brother from another Mexican mother, Jose Soliz. Welcome to the show, Jose. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
So, let's start this conversation off by discussing our history so that we get a feel of us, me and you. So we met, I'm going to say it was 9th grade, 10th grade?
10th grade.
So this is 1997-ish, correct?
Yes.
That's about right, yeah. Mm-hmm. And we met in guitar class, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about on your end? Because I know that I obviously saw you in class.
Yeah.
We didn't have really an association until I think I started getting closer to Javi, right?
Right. That's when you and Javi started hanging out. Then I became friends with Javi, and then it just kind of developed from there.
Yeah. Okay. And through the years, you and I got extremely close.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, if not as close as me and Javi, probably closer. And we've remained that way through, gosh, this is...
years.
We're going on 20 years almost, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's to 24, so that's what? Yeah, more than 20 years.
Oh, yes. 17 is what I'm thinking would be 20, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, 17. Yeah, jeez, dude.
Yeah.
We're old. That's actually something I wanted to touch on. I had now hear me out. Just humor me for a minute here.
Just remember, you're older than me. No, I'm just kidding.
What, by what? Like a month or two? No,
No, I think a year actually.
Oh, you're only 41.
I'm gonna be 42 this year.
Oh, damn it! Yes. I'm almost a year older than you.
Yeah, 82. I was born.
Okay, yeah. So I was born December 81. So I'm basically 82.
Yeah.
But still just slightly older than you.
Yeah, about 6 months.
Okay. Now humor me. I had this revelation this morning that was not a great one. I was, and please chime in if this has happened to you or anything similar, but I was going through my closet trying to find something to wear, and I was looking at my clothes, and most of my clothes I bought as a kid. So I'm looking at them and I'm like this is something that a young late teens, early 20s person buys and wears. What the fuck are they still doing in my closet? I haven't updated my wardrobe in forever. And you can ask Sarah. I'm sure she freaking hates it. And I put on my clothes and I was like, God, this looks fucking stupid. What am I doing with my life? So how does getting older feel for you? Do you ever go through anything similar like that? I've
Actually, I just recently started having that I guess you call it an epiphany, like a revelation.
Sure.
Yeah, I started noticing, I have shirts that I've had since I went and had my first technical presentation in college. That's more than 20 years or so. And the thing is that, we just put a button here and then, it's missing a button. Why not just get rid of it? I mean, it has 20 plus years, it's like...
Well, okay.
But anyways, for me, just moving, 3 times, I've accumulated a lot of crap. And
tell me about it.
Now it's like, I'm still going through stuff since I moved in or came back to Santa Fe. I mean, it was, since going to be 6 years or so.
So you're talking about you moved from Cruces. Well, okay, let's go back to the beginning. You moved from Santa Fe to Cruces. Mm-hmm. Cruces to Denver. Is that correct?
Broomfield. Yeah.
And then Broomfield back to Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're preaching to the choir about accumulating stuff. I don't even move and I accumulate stuff, so I feel you, bro. Yeah, I've come to the realization that half the shit I own is outdated. So it's really hard for me to get rid of things. I'm very attached to stuff. I get super sentimental about things, which is so stupid. And
I'm very nostalgic as well. Yeah.
I struggle so hard with it, and I'm sure that's another thing that Sarah hates, but I'm trying to be better about it. I'm really, really trying to just like let shit go and detach myself emotionally from this stuff. But I just, God, I struggle with it, man. Like this morning when I was like, okay, this is a Tupac shirt. I haven't worn this for 10 years. Why is it still in my closet? So I put it on the ground and I was like, I don't want to get rid of that, dude. Like, I struggled, but then I finally just told Sarah, you know what, take it out of here before I change my mind because it needs to go. So I've, for myself, created this new thing that if I haven't used it in the last year and I don't have a solid plan in place to use it for the next year, it's got to go. I don't care what it is. So that's my thing. I'm going to go through my garage and do that. I'm going to go through my clothes and do that. And, you know, I'm probably going to come out of this thing with hardly any possessions, but maybe that's all for the better.
Yeah. I mean, we're living in a very materialistic world, you know.
You're not wrong.
It's sometimes we value people by the stuff that they have, you know, or you know,
Yeah.
it's like which we should value them for their actual being, you know, their person.
By all means, you're absolutely correct there. Nailed it. But to that point, I wanted to discuss further on the getting older thing. So, is it more difficult for you? Like, maybe do you struggle with maybe realization of your mortality because you have kids and because we are getting older? Like, in my mind, I don't know if it's the same for you, but in my mind, I'm still a kid. Like, I'm still a teenager or an early 20s. Like, I don't feel like I'm a 42-year-old dude. I don't feel like I'm approaching middle age. Like, that's not a thing in my head. But physically, I look in the mirror and I'm like, this isn't a kid that I'm looking at. Like,
What the hell are you doing here?
what's going on with this mirror? Is somebody behind there? Like, it's such a weird feeling to me getting older. It doesn't, because I know that time is telling me that I'm getting older, but my body is not telling me that I'm getting older, which is maybe a beneficial thing, but also like it's very hard to deal with. I
No,
don't.
I completely get you. And actually, on the way over here, I was thinking, you know, it's like how much my life changed after having kids, or you know, well, I had been married before, but it was different, you know. Once you have kids, it's like you're actually responsible for another human being that's,
That's
you know, your
crazy.
blood, your you know, I mean, yeah, we're responsible sometimes for our spouses, but not entirely.
Right.
But you know, it's but your kids, it's different. So it's like, yeah.
And how does that make you feel towards aging?
Um,
Do you feel like your kids look at you and are like, my dad's old? Is that
not
like,
yet.
so they still look at you and are like, yeah, my dad's young enough, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's why I started also kind of getting back into working out and trying to stay in shape, trying to keep up with them. Because, oh man,
Well, I applaud you because fucking, it takes a lot of self discipline to work out at all ever. Because I've tried it once and it was not for me, and I need to actually like buckle down and start exercising because you don't use it, you lose it. And I'm not trying to be one of those old men who can't lift his finger. I want to at least be in shape when I get old. So. How do you find the motivation and drive to keep up with that?
I try to invest time for myself because that if I'm better overall, then I'm better for my family.
Oh, fair enough. That's good.
So in a way, it sounds selfish, but not entirely. It's kind of like by helping me, I'm helping them.
Sure, I can see that.
So that, and then also certain conversations in my mind and in my head. You know, like my dad's comments sometimes get to me, or just trying to do things that I used to like, and I've always liked to work out. You know,
That's good.
I mean, when we were friends too. I mean,
Yeah.
if
Oh, I remember.
we were to go to Genoveva Chavez
Yeah.
and work out there.
Yeah.
So
But-
I kept it up like that. So
That's where you lose me. That's where my mind goes. Like, how the hell does that happen? Like, how do you find the physical strength to do it every day?
I mean, I find it like it helps me, so I don't see it as a chore.
It's therapeutic almost.
Yeah. It's like me time, my time.
That's great.
It's just like, you know, the time that I'm at the drive over here. You know,
Sure.
it was me time. You know, I didn't even turn on the radio or anything. It was
Oh, wow.
just me, the road, and just my thoughts.
That's great, dude. That's awesome. That's very healthy. So there's so much I want to go over with you. Like, and by all means, if you have any questions or you feel that there's something you'd like me to contribute, please, by all means, this is a conversation. This is not an interview.
No.
I want to hear your story from your words about your childhood, your come up. I want to hear about your gas tank explosion event. I want to hear that's intense, bro.
Yeah.
I want to hear.
Even I mean, yeah, that's my childhood, and then after college, I mean, after high school, I have even more stories that.
Well, let's dig into that. So, the first time I stayed at your house, there's so much to unpack here. I went into your room and there was a video camera in the corner. I was like, what in the world is going on here? You're going to fucking murder me in my sleep or what? You serial killer? Tell me about the camera.
It was put in because I had gotten in trouble, and my parents wanted to keep an eye on me.
So you got into some serious trouble.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Now, next step in that evolution was, we got ready for sleep and you took off your shirt and it looked like somebody blew your arm off. And I was like, what the shit happened to you, dude?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what the shit happened to you.
Yeah. Back in, what was it, when I was 14 years old, it was going to be, I think it was like around February or March. And at that time, remember how we used to like to go and do the strolls at the mall and,
Sure.
and, just walk back and forth and then sometimes talk to girls or whatever. And anyways,
Yeah.
And I had gone out the previous day to the mall and I wanted to get in my dad's good graces. So I was like, okay, so I see him working outside. It was the following day. It was like, well, maybe if I help him, I'll be on his good graces and he'll let me go a second time,
Sure.
second time in a row. And so I was there helping him. And then
Now, real quick, so not to interrupt, but tell me what he was doing.
Oh, he was working on a truck. He was working on a gas tank.
Okay.
And he was changing out the pump, and then he also noticed that there was a piece that had broken off on it.
Sure.
So he was gonna weld it or whatever.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So it was like, this is before I knew what he was actually doing. I just saw him working outside and was like, okay,
Cool.
I'm over here all nosy. I was like, okay, well, here you go for being nosy. No. But anyway, so I asked him, well, can I help with something? He's like, yeah, clean out the gas tank with your arm. Put your arm inside the gas tank and clean it out with a rag and blah, blah. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I did that. I took all the debris as much as I could. I was like, okay. And then he then told me, he's like, okay, hold this piece of metal or something like that. So it was my arm inside the gas tank and holding this, piece of metal. And then he was on the outside welding it with the
Oh
with
my
the torch.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
And at that time I was like, Dad, I don't think this is very smart. It's like, no, it doesn't have gas. I'm like, but the fumes, like, there's nothing to worry about.
Oh,
Like,
man.
okay. And so I was there, and then he's there with the torch, and all of a sudden, it just goes, whew,
Oh,
just it flashes, and I take out my arm, and it was like, I saw it like in on fire or whatever.
fuck.
I saw like pieces of skin kind of
Oh.
falling off like that, and this was like in February, March, so it was kind of on the cooler side.
Yeah.
And I had long sleeves, and I put my sleeves down, and I rolled on the ground for a while, and then I was just screaming, and then my dad rushes inside and tells my mom, I burnt Alejandro, or quemé Alejandro.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, oh, just bring him inside, I'll put some aloe vera on it. It's like, okay. And then my dad was like, yeah, I don't think aloe vera's gonna do it. I'm gonna take him to the hospital.
Oh my God.
My mom didn't realize how severe it was.
Oh, man.
So, my dad gets me in the truck, and one of the cousins that was there helping my dad also kind of helped get me in the car or whatever. And I was kind of like, I was screaming, and then my dad's like, can you kind of calm down a little bit? I'm like, hello. I let him have it. And and I didn't really talk back to my dad. So that was like that was the amount of pain that I was in, it's like.
Yeah. That's insane, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Now, how was the treatment for that and healing? Was that a rough go?
It would have been a lot faster, but St. Vincent's Hospital, they took me in. Well, when we got to the hospital, to emergency room, at the emergency room, they also said, "Oh, can you please have a seat?" I'm like, how the hell do you want me to? I let them have it too. Finally, they put me in a room, put me on a gurney or whatever,
Sure.
those beds,
Yeah.
and they right away put some cold water and towels and whatnot, and then they loaded me up with morphine, and
Oh,
so
jeez.
then I was out, kind of thing. The next thing I remember, I was being put in an intensive care unit.
Oh, jeez.
Like in the second floor, or whatever floor they're,
Yeah.
they burn victims and whatnot. And the idiots put my arm. This is before. One thing I do remember is when they had got me on that floor.
Uh-huh.
They were gonna start dressing my arm and everything like that. And
Sure.
before they did that, they needed to pop all the blisters and everything like
Oh,
that.
God.
So I had a huge blister here, and I still have a little bit of scar from that.
For the audio only listeners, he's pointing to his right wrist
Right
area.
wrist, yeah. And also, a huge blister on my bicep, on inner bicep as well. But I just remember them kind of like, cutting it,
Ugh.
and then just water, coming out.
Oh,
And
God.
then once they dressed it or whatever, they put my arm, like this, off to the side, bent at the elbow.
Okay.
And then when they my arm started healing, and it started healing, but with my arm being bent, it the same meat or whatever couldn't expand because it was already growing in that shape, right?
Right, in that bent L shape.
So it needed to, they needed to stretch it out again. And so I had to go into therapy, like into a water bath with like a hot tub kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then just be in there and try to stretch it out. And then, yeah, it was
Jesus. So how long were you in the burn unit for?
for about a month.
Oh, damn, dude. And how much longer after that did the pains continue?
Maybe the pain actually was diminished after, I don't know, like maybe another month or so.
After you got out?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so maybe 2 months total
Yeah.
that you were going through it.
Yeah, but the first 2 weeks were pretty painful.
Ugh.
And then the following 2 weeks were painful, but because of their negligence. So,
Dude, that sucks. That's a rough go of things, man. You're intense. I had a little burn on my hand, and I still have the scar, but I can't I can't say anything because that's not even close to what you went through. I'm surprised that it didn't blow up in your face, like get some of your face too.
yeah, well, it was fully sealed. My arm
so
was
like your shoulder was sealing the hole at the top.
yeah. You can see the actual line on my
no
shoulder,
kidding.
like where my, it was like hot and then not hot. Got burnt and not burnt because
Oh,
of
wow.
of the metal.
I thought I remembered it like going onto
going
your
up
chest
chest.
too.
No.
Maybe I'm just thinking wrong.
Yeah. No, it's just my arm.
Intense. That's crazy intense. Now, did that event affect you in any other way than physically, like down the line? Like, and I guess what I'm getting at is, did that play any part into you starting to dive into alcohol,
No,
drinking, or anything like that?
I don't think so. Yeah, I had PTSD or whatever.
Sure.
From that event.
But substance abuse didn't come into play with this.
With
event.
this, no.
Okay.
The substance abuse is related to other issues.
Okay.
More kind of repressed feelings, a lot of processing past events, kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm sure that there's thousands and thousands of people who struggle with abuse of alcohol, and I'm sure that many of those are for similar reasons that you have, processing past events or whatever. But how did yours start? What was your tipping point of like, hey, I need to turn to alcohol, and this is what's going to make me feel better?
Oh, well, I mean, alcohol had. There was never really a start because it's had been in my life since, I grew up. My dad was always drinking, and it was kind of like very common. It was natural to have that in the home. So me, having a couple of drinks here and there when I was young, wasn't a big deal. So I mean, that's.
That when you say young, how young were you?
I mean, like, what was it, like 6, 7?
Jesus, but that's not something your parents were like, hey, come here.
No, 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 no. Sometimes
Hey, Alejandro, you want a beer? Come here. Let's sit down and chug one. Like,
no, no. I would be like, Dad, can I have a drink? I would go up to them and it's like,
oh, like literally a drink, not like an actual
no, no, no,
drink.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no. And then as you get older, you start to be sneakier.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
No, I mean,
yeah.
you're preaching to the choir. We had our own fair share. But I remember one time you went to Mexico and you brought me back a bottle of brandy. Now, I think, albeit I'm not a big drinker, I would say. I never have been, but that thing was awesome. And it took me like 2 years to drink. So this whole time it's like hiding under my bed and just a little sip here, a little sip there. But you eventually did overcome your struggles with alcohol, or is that an ongoing thing?
I mean, it's always a ongoing thing as far as you. It's kind of like quitting cigarettes. You never really quit, right?
I quit and I'm never going back.
Well, some people. I mean,
Okay.
like me. But I mean, I quit smoking as well. But I mean, I'm not saying that I quit. I'm not planning on it, but sometimes or whatever. But
Well, and no judgment. That wasn't. I wasn't talking
no, I know.
down to you by any means.
Yeah.
Cause
No, but,
I think it's great that you stopped.
yeah. What was the question again? Sorry.
but- What was the question again? Is alcohol an ongoing thing?
Oh, no. Like currently, no. I feel like I have a pretty good control over it. I mean, I don't feel it like it controls me.
But there was a time in recent memory
Yes.
that it was.
Yeah, yeah.
A very big problem.
It got to the point where I had like, what was it? I had a vision, or I started seeing people or something like that.
Jesus.
And having blacked out a couple times.
Well,
Yeah.
and there was a catalyst to this, wasn't there? There was something in your life that was happening with you and your ex. Is that correct? Where the times that it was the worst.
Oh no! I mean,
No?
It's usually when it was like a. For me, it was more of a coping tool that I didn't know it was a coping tool. So if I would stress out or whatever,
So like a crutch. You were using it as a crutch
exactly
to get through the day.
not through the day, but through the issues, I wouldn't really do it like throughout the whole day. It would be just in the evenings or whatever.
But every evening though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did this go on where it was a steady every evening thing?
Jeez, years, probably maybe a good 5 years.
And this was the college time, right?
Yeah, it was some college and some
Pre-college
uh,
or after?
a little bit. Well, actually, then a lot more than. I mean, every day. That's what I would say. A good 5 years, and then occasional binges here and there since I was, 15 years old. 14.
Yeah. But okay, but to be fair, like, I'm not even a drinker. I've never struggled with alcohol, but I had several binges for years and years with when I had the apartment at the Bluffs and even for a couple of years after that, it was that's what we did. That's.
I mean, the way that I see it now, it was a part of my life. It was like a segment in my life. Like we all have different parts of our lives. So we have like the baby phase, the toddler,
Sure.
adolescent, the adult, and et cetera, et cetera.
And then the drunk.
And then, well, I see that more like, that I see between, 20 and say 35, that's when you're out partying or whatever, and that's kind of normal. And then there comes a stage where, like, well, that was the past. Now
That
you
was
need to
fun.
grow up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. I mean, I don't think I'll go ever back. I mean, I've learned a lot about myself. I know that I have very addictive personality, and that contributes to, or my ADD, my ADHD or whatever, contributes to that type of personality, and then we tend to hyper focus on certain things that brings us joy, like
Sure.
the drinking, the increase in dopamine, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think it's incredible that you own it. Like you know exactly and have pinpointed in your life what it takes a strong person to realize that, yeah, maybe there's a problem there, but also a stronger person to overcome that problem and keep it at bay. And we've had conversations in the past about your struggles with it, but for the most part, you, like, when shit needs to be handled, you handled it. You didn't let that run your life, which is, again, applaud, because
Thank you.
that's rough. And you see it every day. There's people who can't overcome it. They can't. Shit needs to get done, and they just flake on it, let it go. Doesn't matter.
They let that vice control them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when I feel, when you have a problem.
The problem starts a little bit before that.
Well,
but
yeah.
That's
But
where the problem is controlling you. You're not controlling your problems.
Exactly.
I think. Okay. Well, thank you for talking about that. I know,
Of course.
alcoholism's not something easily addressed or discussed. So thank you for talking about it.
No,
But
yeah. No, and I don't see it as who. I don't feel like it's who I am. I believe that's who I was. I have grown a lot from the past, and
well,
it's,
if you ask me, I don't think that was ever who you were. That was
Well, I
just
mean, it's
something that came along with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't say that, like, never in my life, even when you were at your worst, did I think, well, Jose, he's a drunk. That was never a thing. It was, Jose's down right now, so he's drunk.
Yeah.
See, so it was like something that came along hand in hand with the time period, maybe, but it was never Jose's a drunk. That's never been a thing. I don't think you've always been like an admirable person. You've always been like a strong, like, super. You have this determination in you, and you have this very, like, I don't know, like, you're very self-composed.
Oh, well.
You handle yourself very well, and when shit needs to get done, like I said, you get it done. It's never been. You're very reliable.
Well, I do my best to be as reliable as I can. That's one thing my dad instilled in us. To be your word kind of thing, and I'm still working on that.
There's so much I want to talk to you about. I just thought about something else. Let's go back, rewind.
Yeah.
I want to talk about high school.
Yeah.
I would have never graduated high school if it wasn't for you. I mean, okay, that's not fair. I would have made myself do it, but I would have had to go back to high school another year, so I wouldn't have been able to graduate with our class if it was not for you.
Well,
Do you recall that night?
yeah.
So it all came down to one night. I stayed at Jose's house, and the next day was our portfolio, right? Like our high school portfolio was due by the next day, and you needed to turn this portfolio in to graduate. And I went to stay at Jose's house that night, and I was like, bro, I gotta finish this. So I stayed up as late as I could, bro, but I can't function. I need sleep. I'm one who can't overcome my sleep. I can't just push sleep aside and stay awake, no matter how hard I try. I've always been the type that crashes out at a party, and I was old before old was a thing. So I remember working on it, and then I remember sitting there like dozing off in front of your computer, like just like, okay, fuck it, I don't care. I gotta sleep. And tell me what happened next, because I fell asleep.
Well, I just remember, helping you work on it.
You helped me work on it, but then I went to sleep.
Yeah, I just kind of helped, put it together.
You finished it, bro. Let's not be modest. You worked your ass off to finish. That thing wasn't even half done when I fell asleep, dude. And these are huge portfolios. There was a lot of work that went into that thing.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff, I mean, I just kind of grabbed from mine that I had just turned in as well, and I got it graded back because I had taken the class the previous semester of the same year, so I already had it, or I had it ready, or I had it available at my hands. In other words. So a lot of the stuff I just kind of like, well,
So I remember waking up the next morning and being like, "Fuck, man, I'm not gonna get to walk with my class." Yeah, I finished it. You're good. Let's go graduate. And I was like, "What the fuck, dude? You did my shit." So yeah, I kind of owe my graduation on time to you for sure, and I'll never forget that. That's always something that I tell people.
Well, it's something I like to do is to help, and it's still part of me, and
Yeah, you've helped me many times over the years. I cannot deny that. You've always been again, going back to you being a reliable person. If I ever need anything, I know that I can rely on you if you're not busy or have prior engagements.
That's what I try to be. It's just following the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated.
Much respect. I respect that because I kind of have the same thing. I'm very, I feel you are too, but very empathetic of a person. Easy to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and be like, fuck, how would I feel in that situation? So I get it. But yeah, thank you for helping me graduate on time.
Of course, you're welcome.
Then we started the journey into college.
Yep.
And we started out at the community college together.
Well, actually, I owe all my education to you.
No, you don't.
Yes.
No, you owe the beginning to me. I'll take that.
Well, because when we graduated, I graduated, top 10% or whatever.
Yeah, because you're a bad motherfucker.
Thank you. But I mean, I guess I'm the first one who graduated, high school. Can't even think of college.
Well, and now on the point of you graduating top 10 in our class, that speaks back to your self-discipline. Like in every aspect of your life, you have this insane self-discipline that I just can't fathom. I can't grasp, dude. I have no concept of what it takes to be that, to just, well, I gotta graduate and do this homework and be the best that I can be, so I'm gonna do it. Like, that's incredible.
That's has always been me. My
That's
parents
crazy.
never told me do your homework. I always did
it because you were supposed to.
Yeah.
That's fucking incredible.
They never told me, oh, did you do your homework? Or well, actually they would. Did you do your homework? I'm like, no, but I'll do it in the morning. and I would, I would wake up, sometimes 4 or 5 in the morning.
That's crazy.
Would do my homework and then, be like, oh, I finished it early. It's 6. I'm gonna go out for a jog, and would go out for a jog, come back, and get ready for school. And
that's nuts. I never intentionally went for a jog. Okay, so back to college. You graduated top 10%.
Oh yeah, and so I didn't get admitted to any university. I applied, and
that is insane.
So I was, I was like down. I was like, well, I guess college isn't for me. So I was working at Rancho Alegre next to the J.W. Eves movie ranch.
Yes.
And I was the guy in charge of all the gardens, all the maintenance that needed to happen, all the...
See, as a high school kid, you were the guy in charge.
Yeah, pretty much. So they had given me... I was the only one there, I was... It was just me and another guy who did other type of work that worked with the horses and whatnot.
Okay.
Apart from that, I was in charge of all the irrigation and whatnot, so
sure.
I was getting paid okay. But I still wanted to go to school, and then you had told me it was, they're offering this scholarship at the Santa Fe Community College. You should go and check it out. And I was like, okay, I'll go check it out. So one day I got out of work early, and I still had my boots, my hat, kind of dusty. I went to the community college like that and asked about it, and about the scholarship, and it's like, yeah, just fill this out and blah blah. It's like, oh, but you need to have your like math entrance exam, and I hadn't even studied for it or anything like that. I just kind of like just took it just off the top of my head. Luckily, I didn't do too bad, so I got tested into, I think it was trigonometry or something like that.
Jesus, dude.
So, but I really enjoyed that class, so I didn't mind.
That scholarship that he's speaking of, though, is the New Mexico lottery scholarship.
No, it was the one before.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
it was given through the community college. They were going to take care of the first semester.
Yes.
And then after the first semester, if you did well, then that's when the lottery scholarship.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So and now I went out for that too, but because there's a lot to break down there, but I could not afford books, and so I had no choice but to drop out of the class. So I kind of lost my chance at having that scholarship, and that was it for what I thought was it for my college career. That's a whole nother topic, but you were incredibly successful in your college career. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, once I got into the community college, I mean, I really, I feel like it wasn't too difficult. I tested well, got an internship in 2002 in Las Cruces, and that's when I learned about civil engineering for the first time, and then I transferred down there and got some fellowships and just continued with school, and got my bachelor's 2005, and then that was in civil engineering.
Bachelor's in civil engineering. This man. Proceed. That's not it. Continue.
And then I got my master's in civil engineering with emphasis in water resources.
Master's in civil engineering.
And then after that, I went to, I graduated with that in 2008. And then we moved to Colorado. And I got admitted to, I got admitted to both the University of Colorado at Denver and the University of Colorado at Boulder, except the University at Colorado at Denver didn't have any set funding for me, while the University of Colorado at Boulder did, and the project that they had, the research that I would be involved in, was I mean, it was perfect. It was made for me. I mean, it's exactly what I was looking for.
And what exactly is that?
So they needed help with the field, putting in instrumentation in the field to monitor, the weather and other components, soil moisture, etc., kind of thing. So my background is in evapotranspiration. So
I don't even know what the fuck you just said, bro. You're speaking Chinese in here.
So evapotranspiration is the combination of evaporation and transpiration from plants. So you know how the water evaporates.
Yeah.
That's evaporation, right?
Of course.
And then there's transpiration. You know how we sweat.
Yeah.
And that's we transpire. So the plants do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So evapotranspiration, it's the combination of the two. In other words, it's how much water the plants use.
Okay.
And that measuring that in the field allows us to estimate how much water is being depleted from the river, or how much water a crop needs, etc.
Now, you said estimate. Now, how accurate is that?
I mean, it's pretty accurate. I mean, there's various methods of measuring, of estimating evapotranspiration. There's empirical equations. There's actual direct measurements. There's also measurements that are, or there's calculations that are equations that calculate the evaporation or evapotranspiration as a residual. So pretty much kind of like solving a algebraic equation kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I like turtles, okay?
Sorry.
You fucking scientist, man. So that wasn't the end of your college career, though, right?
Oh, no,
We're
no.
still in it. Proceed.
Then after, well, I got admitted to the University of Colorado at Boulder, and my wife at that time got accepted with a fellowship at the University of Colorado at Denver. So we were looking for a place in the middle, and Broomfield, was the perfect place.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I was there for good, what was it, 8 years or so.
Now,
For my PhD.
This is a fucking doctor. This is a doctor of water right here. Civil engineering doctor. My Mexican friend. Tell me about how Mexicans are destroying our country.
I have no idea.
This is a doctor right here. Now tell me, okay, so you and your ex obviously did not last because she is your ex. Through the looking glass, though, from an outside perspective, I really liked you guys together because you were very active. You guys seemed to live a very healthy lifestyle. You seemed to have a good relationship, but that wasn't always the case, was it?
Oh, no, not at all.
Was that just more of a, I don't know, a social media front, or what were there good times? I guess is what I'm asking.
There were good times. It was just I got to know her more as a person, and I didn't, or how do I put this? Our core values didn't align in the end.
Okay.
So, in order for us to be one family, we have to be on the same page, at least our core values.
Okay.
So there were certain things that she made a big deal out of, and that I didn't think really weren't that much importance.
Speak more on that.
So,
Like what exactly?
from what I remember, she was an only child, well, half child, but anyways.
Wait. She was only half a child?
well, she was an only child.
Okay.
But she did have half.
Oh, a half
brother
sibling. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? How are you being a half child?
Sorry, my mind just sometimes goes too fast, and I'm like, didn't I say that?
Okay, so now what? Give me an example of one of her.
So she would, if something good would happen to me, she would expect something good to happen to her, and so
Interesting.
sometimes she would, at least I would feel like she would be jealous when of certain accomplishments that I would have.
Interesting.
Just
I mean,
things like that.
You don't have to keep going into it. I just wanted to give like a sort of an example to understand a little bit better. But that's crazy because that's very much a only child type of response to a situation. Is, hey, if you're gonna get a present, I need to get a present too. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it. But now, was it so much that you guys were just that you were incompatible because of your core beliefs, or was there more to your incompatibility?
There were other, underlying issues, or there was a lack of intimacy, that kind of thing.
That's definitely a recipe for failure.
So then lack of empathy as well.
Yeah, that's rough. Now, but okay, so in the end, was the split mutual, or was that very much, hey, I can't deal with this, you need to leave?
No, it was during a time where, we were both having issues. She was trying to finish her PhD, her dissertation, and I was working on mine, and I was having some, some issues, and I was drinking some at the time, and she, she couldn't take it or whatever, or I was hardly there. I was focused on either at school, so there was a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of separation.
Wow. Okay. Well, in the end, it ended up being the better thing for you guys, right? Because I'm sure that she's better off, and we know that you're better off.
We never know. The way that I'm trying to see it, and it has taken a lot over the years to really see it as a learning experience rather than a failure. Because I hate failing.
Nobody said it's a failure.
No,
it just
I know,
happens,
but but it's how we are the hardest critics.
Yeah,
And I'm on the top list.
that's fair. But
on there, so yeah.
but all that said and done, you did meet somebody who you are much more compatible with, who's a sweet, sweet person. And you have two beautiful kids with her, and you have two beautiful dogs with her, and you've got this nice,
Well, not
lovely
that I
family.
had him with her, but I'm just kidding.
But so you've got, that's what I guess
I know.
that was my point, was that, for all intents and purposes, it would appear that you made the right decision, because who knows how much more intense things would have gotten, or how much more you guys would have drifted apart, you and your ex.
Yeah.
And now you have this beautiful, lovely family to show for it, and you're incredibly successful, and you are now working for the county, if I'm not correct.
The state.
The state, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
And
government.
what do you do for the state?
I currently work for the Hydrographic Survey Bureau.
I don't even know what that shit is. That's amazing.
Pretty much mapping.
Mapping. Water.
Yeah. So mapping water rights, delineating or adjudicating water rights, like measuring, going out. It's like, oh, I have a surface water right of zero point 0.5 acres, and so we go out and we measure the acreage, using a GPS Trimble or whatever, and we upload it into software to correct for the satellites and whatnot, and then we make a map and present it to the lawyers. The lawyers take it to the judge, and then so it's a process.
Now, who are you doing this for? For the state?
For the
Like
state,
the
yeah.
state is taking claim to water rights?
So we work pretty much for the lawyers.
The state's
for
lawyers.
the state, yeah.
Okay, I see.
The state is defending the water rights of New Mexico, right?
Oh, good. We like that.
So there's a say farmer Bob submitted a claim for say 5 acres or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, what's the history of it, and is there precedence, is there actually water available, because a lot of the waters are all adjudicated, already accounted for.
Interesting. Now, that brings up a point in my mind. We had a governor prior to our current governor who I was not a fan of, who liked to send our waters out of our state when we don't have enough to get by on. Were you in office when she was in office?
I had just gotten started when she was leaving.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm sad that you weren't.
I mean, as soon as I came in at a perfect time. I mean, when this new governor started, I mean, the whole state got raises.
Oh, wow.
And they hadn't seen raises in 10 years.
Oh, geez.
So, and then I think this year we're gonna get another raise.
Oh, that's great.
So there's been a good economy.
That's awesome. So, are you aware of, or do you know exactly what water rights we lost due to our previous governor?
I mean, we're still in well, I don't know the specifics of the exact, I guess, situation that you're referring to.
Well, as far as I understood, I read an article in the New Mexican. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of her sending our water across the border to Texas, like giving them rights, claiming stake on our side of the border.
Oh, that has always been the case since 1940 something.
No kidding.
Since there was a treaty, the Rio Grande Compact. And it's a compact between between the three states, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas, except Texas water rights start, for whatever reason, from Elephant Butte to the border.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. I think what I was reading, she extended it or something. She gave them more than what they had already had.
Oh, I mean, right now we're actually in court, in the Supreme Court, in Washington, defending. Well, we had gone to court, the Supreme Court, for that, and there was already an agreement. It took all the way to Washington. There was an agreement, but then the government was like, oh, wait, we want to put our nose in there as well.
Dicks.
So it was like, now we're all again in court saying that we are not giving Texas what they should get according to them, even though there's been agreement on all sides regarding the quantities
That's
and
crazy.
so it's like,
I don't know. In my mind, and it doesn't make sense legally, I guess, but in my mind, I see borders of states, and I think everything in those borders should belong to that state. Outside of that border should belong to the other states.
yeah, this is a very unique situation.
That's crazy. I can't believe that so much of our state belongs to
Yeah.
Texas. That's horrible.
Well, not the, I mean,
I know not the physical land,
but the waters.
but the water. That's. I mean, we don't have enough water to get by as it
Exactly.
is.
So
and
that's
Texas
why,
is huge.
and there had been debate as far as during the wet years that we didn't give Texas enough water, and that's why Texas sued us, and that's that we were supposed to give them, X amount, and we only give them a little bit.
Texas is a horrible neighbor. They're like an ex-wife who just keeps coming after you and doesn't. They're like, I want more. I want more. I can't make it on my own. I need you to support me. That's horrible. I mean, whatever it is, what it is, nothing we can do about it. But it just seems crazy to me.
Yeah, so there's going to be some finality to it pretty soon. I haven't really been paying much attention, just been focusing on a current project that we have.
And what are you
right
working
now.
on currently?
We're working on Acequia Cerro Gordo. Cerro Gordo? In Santa Fe?
Yeah, north side of Santa Fe.
Well, from the 2 Mile Reservoir, there was an acequia, and that acequia had run almost all the way to, well, there was an arroyo, kind of like, do you remember that big turn on Cerro Gordo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that big turn, in that big turn there, that along that gully, there was a big storm that took out a flume that went across that gully that supplied water to the neighbors the people on the west side of the gully.
Okay.
And since the 60s, it had not been repaired, and then there was issue about, once they got it repaired, there was issue between the upstream and then the downstream users as far as not getting water, and so we're in court about that. And so we had gone out and talked to the neighbors, saw what their claims are, and then we're working on reports, giving our recommendations as far as what we consider irrigable land.
Damn, poor New Mexico, just starving for water, and everybody else wants it. That's crazy, man. You know, something that just came to mind was your work ethic, always being hugely successful, I guess. You, again, playing back to your whole self, like, determination and being so I don't even know the word. I don't have a word for it, but I remember you saying one time, I asked you to go do something with me, and you're like, oh, well, I have a prior engagement, I have to go clean this yard. And I was like, I'll go help you. And so we went and cleaned some yard, big ass fucking yard downtown. Maybe
Off of Canyon Road?
Canyon Road, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like on the corner there. And it was a big ass yard, and it took us like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you could have blown that off. We were kids, man. And you're like, nope, gotta go do it. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You always had this incredible work ethic. That's
Well, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't hear the end of it from my dad. So. And had been trying to escape home since high school. So
fair enough.
since even after when I even rented at the Bluffs, and I didn't really stay.
Yeah, that was a shitty situation.
Yeah.
I wish you could have been there more. But also, I'm glad that you weren't there more, because we got into trouble, and it wouldn't have been good for you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you kind of lucked out on that one.
Mom always knows right, or Mom always knows why.
So I want to talk about your sister real quick, because you're not the only one successful in your household. I guess in your immediate family. Your parents raised a bunch of kids like you. Tell me about your sister's success.
My sister? Well, my sister, she went to various, she pretty much went to every high school in Santa Fe.
Okay, wait. That doesn't sound very successful.
Well, I mean, because she would get bored, and
Oh, wow.
she needed, more, I guess, more of a challenge kind of thing.
Okay.
So she ended up staying at St. Michael's.
Okay.
And she did, all kinds of sports.
Okay.
And then she graduated from high school and went directly to the Culinary Art Institute in Scottsdale. Got her degree or whatever.
Sure.
And then started working for Eddie V's. And then she went opening restaurants around the country for them.
That's awesome.
Training the personnel.
That's awesome.
As she's a chef.
Yeah. What else did she do? She did something notable.
Yeah. And at the very end of her traveling back and forth, opening restaurants, she got, I guess, sous chef position at the Chicago restaurant, and then through their acquaintances and her boyfriend, they had nominated her, or something or other. In other words, she was in that Food Network show Cutthroat Kitchen.
Cutthroat Kitchen.
And I mean, it's a competition, and anyways, it's long story short, she won.
She won. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think she came out with $19,000.
That's great. Good for her, man.
Yeah.
Do you have any other successes that you'd like to speak on, either for you or anybody else in the family?
Oh well, my brother, he's still working on his PhD as well.
That's what I was getting at.
And he just recently passed the FE, the Fundamental of Engineering exam. So now
Good Lord, what?
So that's a test that is given to all engineers.
Sure.
That would like to pursue, or that in some universities it's a requirement to have. In others, it's just a requirement to have taken the test.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to work in engineering, you need to pass that test.
Okay.
And it's a before it was a 8-hour test, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening, and now it's like 5 hours.
Okay.
But it's all on the computer, and before it was
Yeah.
like with the bubble.
What's your brother going to school for?
Same thing as I did.
No kidding.
Civil engineering, water resources.
Wow.
My
crazy.
advisor is his advisor.
Oh wow, that's great.
So I mean, I kind of helped him from the beginning. Got him internship right out of high school, and then from high school, I just kind of showed him the way, and then he got scholarships along the way, and
That's too cool.
Stayed at the dorms.
So
And
this shit runs in your family, man. This self-discipline, fucking drive for success runs in your family.
well, it's how my dad taught us. It's like the only inheritance that nobody can take away is education.
Wow, man, that's great.
So
Now-
that's
I'd like to go back, and I mean, we're getting short on time here, but no. Hey, man, this is all good stuff. I want to touch on your parents. Are they first generation in the U.S.?
Meaning.
From Mexico. Like, did they come from Mexico, or did their parents come?
Oh no, they came from Mexico.
They came from Mexico.
Yeah, when we came over, I mean, it was also a traumatic experience for me.
Please.
So I was about 4.5 years old. It was in December, in the winter. Remember, it was kind of cold. So at that time, neither of us had, documentation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we crossed illegally. But in the process, we got, I guess, attacked or tried to get robbed, in other words.
Sure.
According to them, they did rob us. What happened is that we crossed the canal, and we got across. We had crossed on a makeshift barge kind of thing,
And
with the inner tube.
But where at did you guys cross?
In Juarez.
In Juarez.
Juarez
Okay.
to El Paso.
Okay.
So it's just a canal,
Yeah.
Anyways, there was water at that time, and it wasn't going too full, but I mean, probably about waist high
Yeah.
or so. I mean, for you it's probably like ankle high, but for me it's like waist high. But anyways, once we crossed over, these gang members, assaulted us, and they asked my dad for his wallet and et cetera, et cetera. And my dad was like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so my dad's always been really quick on his feet and doesn't let emotion, kind of take control over him.
Okay.
So under pressure, he's pretty good.
Okay.
So in the process, he had his wallet in his hand or whatever, and then he's shaking it over his head, kind of thing, and then he walks to the river or whatever, and then he's trying to, fight him off or whatever. There were two over my dad, and one stayed with my mom and I, and my mom was holding me, by my waist, and then she was holding onto the fence at the very top.
Okay.
And then also the coyote that was there. Well, the person that's the person you call anyways.
Right.
Not an actual, anyway.
There's not an actual animal there.
Yeah. But anyways, so my dad was with this wallet, flaying in the air. It was like, okay, trying to fight him off or whatever. And then he kind of fell into like an area where the water was a little bit deeper. And it went down to like his belly, like his chest area.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, he puts the wallet in underneath his armpit.
Yeah.
And then says, the water took it, and they take off all after it.
Oh, jeez.
And then the water took it, and once they took off, my dad went and checked up on us, and the guy there, the coyote, he was like, "Did the water take it?" He's like, "No, I have it here." It's like, "Okay, put it in your son's pants," and my dad put it in my pants, and then sure enough, the gang members or whatever, the cholos, came back and said, "Give us the wallet. We don't have, we don't see it or anything like that." My dad said, "Search me. I don't have anything." And then they searched my dad and they let us go. Thank God.
Holy cow, dude, that's
So
crazy.
it was pretty traumatic. And then on top of that, once we got into El Paso, we got into this like motel or whatever. I guess it was like one of those hour motels.
Oh, jeez.
So the room that my dad had rented for X amount of hours for us to stay, which there was going to be a car that picked us up or whatever.
Yeah.
There in the morning. But anyways, all through the night, they tried to get into the room. They were like banging on the door. And
Jesus.
so my parents put like the dresser, the bed, and
Damn.
I guess from all the stress and everything, I got a fever, and so it was kind of crazy.
Now, did they always know that they were going to come up to Santa Fe?
Yeah, my dad had already an employer who
Okay.
he already had a job.
Okay,
set
I
kind of
see.
thing.
I see.
He already had a kind of a place for us to stay
And
as well.
okay, and through the years, your dad got his own business, did he not? Is that correct?
Not necessarily. I mean, he worked for himself.
Well, okay, well, that's what I meant. He's self-employed. He
Yeah.
doesn't work for anybody specific, but he generates income on his own.
Yeah,
For
generated,
himself.
Yeah.
That's great. And did they ever get their papers legally, their citizenships?
Yeah. They actually got their citizenship before I did.
So, to all of those people, again, I ask you, how are the Mexicans ruining our country? These people immigrated across the border illegally and then fought for their citizenship, got it, and have spawned 2 doctors and a chef. Tell me how they're ruining our country.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, I get that.
I guess you hear a lot of it.
Well, I mean, with everything going on at the border now, there's a mass influx of people. Yes, that's a little intimidating. It's hard to deal with, but I just am not a fan of people complaining about Mexicans coming over, because if Mexicans weren't here, who the hell's gonna clean your yard? Who the hell's gonna get food for you? Because you're sure as shit not gonna go do it. You wouldn't even know where to start. Like, I'm just saying, people are too entitled and too spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, we're society is creating itself like that.
Yeah,
you know?
no, you're
And
not wrong.
and
You're
it's
not wrong.
it's giving us opportunities and opportunities for work and for growth. It depends on. I mean, we're actually living the American dream.
Yeah.
Work hard and and with your hard work and effort and constant looking ahead, anything is possible.
No, and that's facts, and you guys are living proof, and I respect it so very much, and I'm glad that we've had this friendship for so long, and I look forward to another 20, 30 years, bro.
Me too, me too.
Appreciate
And thank you for not always reaching out and not being upset about me not reaching out as well. I've been busy. Sorry. It's
I
just
get it,
life.
dude. Life is unpredictable,
Yeah.
and I know that a lot of people get upset about shit like that, and they're like, "Oh, well, we haven't talked in 2 years, so we're not really friends." And I'm like, "Dude, like, I cannot talk to my friends for 20 years, and we're still friends. Like, I
Yeah,
don't give
yeah,
a
it's
shit. Like, you can't erase the time that you've had in the past by not speaking for a little while. And then when we do talk, it's a fun catch up always. So, no, we've gone a little over our time, but that's
sorry.
okay. I this was a blast, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come and do this podcast with
Yeah,
me.
of course, anytime.
And I definitely am going to have you again in the future, because we didn't even touch on half of your stories that you wanted to talk about. So
Oh yeah, my college stories.
your college stories, and there's more I'm sure we're gonna discuss. But again, thank you for
You're
taking
very
the
welcome.
time and driving down here to do this. And
Of course, it was my pleasure, and thank you for having me, and
Of course.
and for your friendship and
Yeah.
everything.
You don't need to thank me for that. Thank you. But yeah, we'll do this again.
Okay,
All right. See ya.
see ya, brother.